Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is coming out of Louisville, Kentucky, and I think it is a fucking wonderful thing. I think it's fucking beautiful. It's pretty damn awesome, I think. Um, fucking, I'll just get into it. Louisville, Kentucky, from Wave. It was put out by Natalie Martinez on March 15th. Says, prohibiting a convicted felon from possessing a gun is unconstitutional, according to Jefferson County Circuit Court judge ruling. Judge Melissa Logan Bellows filed the order this week dismissing the possession charge against a convicted felon and persistent felon offender Jericory Frazier, Jecory Frazier. The motion to dismiss was filed by Louisville attorney Robert Eggert in October on behalf of his client. Eggert claimed the state's law does not trump the Second Amendment. Bellows agreed, making the first ruling of its kind in Jefferson County. Tricia Lister, an attorney at Egner's office, wrote the motion. She believed Bellows' opinion was well written. She told Wave News troubleshooters the Second Amendment does not single out convicted felons. She said the charge has been not the charge has not been equally enforced and is used as a way to keep people of color from having guns. Lister stated over 70% of these prosecuted on the standalone charge are minorities. She confirmed their office has filed several motions for dismissal of firearm charges in both state and federal court. This is the first time a judge has ruled in their favor, but she said several of the motions are currently pending a final decision. She believes the Supreme Court has left room for interpretation and that judges have made ruling based on tradition and not the law. Amen. It is not equally enforced, Lister said. A law has to be fair and used correctly. She added they are prepared to see any appeals through. Not everyone agrees with the motion, however. Which is more important, the right to bear arms or protecting people from felons who have guns? Louisville defense attorney and former prosecutor Leland Hubert told Wave News. What is more important, a right to bear arms, which protects us all, each and every one, from a tyrannical government or from felons who have guns? Well, we all know that a lot of these laws and traditions that they go by are wrong. I've known all my life that fucking um, taking a fucking somebody's Second Amendment rights just because they got convicted of a quote felony. That that's just a way that the government uses the laws or traditions and their fucking power not only to make up laws, but to allow glaringly uh, laws or statutes that other states or municipalities have set or laws that are in direct violation of the Constitution. Nowhere in the Second Amendment does it say anything about if the government that we're guaranteeing you the rights to own and bear arms and to keep in check. And nowhere in that amendment does that say, but if that government convicts you in one of their false courts and commercial courts, um, and decide that you're a felon and convict you to prison time, that they can take your gun away from you because now you was a threat to the government, and the people that give the government a physical presence um, to now all of a sudden they're a threat to everybody because the government that the Second Amendment is made to protect us from violates us and says we can't have it. So, but this is where the gaslighting starts. Right there. Which is more important, the right to bear arms or protecting people from felons who have guns? Former prosecutor Leland Hubert told the Wave. Limped and Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg had recently been outspoken about their concerns over firearms being in the hands of convicted felons. They have recently formed a new unit at the police department to track such cases and have held conversations with judges to discuss such charges being dismissed or suspects being placed on home incarceration. So the police, not the judges, the police are going to the fucking judges and going, hey, motherfucker, there's not a, legit law on the book, and we all have a duty to the Constitution, not state law. And the Constitution don't say nothing. They're going on what they want because there's a money revenue there, and a way to keep more people disarmed. Blah blah blah. Anyway, a lot of gun activists hold their hat on everyone can have a gun, but the convicted felon. Holbert said. Now, I've never hung my hat on that. I've always said it was bullshit, and I think most red-blooded gun-toting, go fuck yourself card-carrying members all feel that way. But anyway, Holbert is speaking for most of you gun activists, it says. Some officers have also expressed their worries about Jefferson County judges being soft on crime. This ruling, however, comes from a conservative judge likely muddying the waters for pro-gun voters who are also tough on crime. The Louisville community has been concerned with the gun violence that has plagued the city, the department said in a statement. A large number of violent crimes had been committed by convicted felons. This decision of this magistrate is unfortunate and has placed the citizens at risk for additional gun violence. I wish somebody would proofread some of their shit. They typed and misspelled like I done. It told me off. Limped PD remains committed to addressing individuals engaged in criminal activity and brings justice to victims and their families. The Limp PD added, we're continuing forward with our mission to follow the law and apply it justly and fairly. The following statement was sent from the Jefferson County Court Administrator and retired Circuit Court Judge McKay Chauvin, Chauvin. Whether it is constitutionally permissible to ban convicted felons from possessing firearms based on their status as a convicted felons is an issue being addressed by state and federal courts across the country, up to and including the Supreme Court, where it will ultimately be decided. While it might seem to be a matter of simple common sense, this is where the gaslighting again, simple common sense, to most people, it is actually a very complicated matter of law. Regardless of how it ultimately turns out, there is no one on any side of the legal debate who is pro-crime and anti-public safety. More gaslighting, because see, they're structuring that you can only make an argument that a felon can have a firearm if you're pro-crime and don't give a fuck about public safety. So they're gaslighting. They're trying to framing the narrative. Fraser's criminal history dates back to 2004. Now, see, now they're fucking trying to, they're just going after this dude to show, see, even if he fits the framework of a violent criminal, and that's probably where they're going to try to go. Like I said, I hadn't read all this. I just seen it. It come up. I decided I had to say something. And thank God for the fucking judge that threw that shit out. But anyway, it says dude's criminal history backs back to 2004. Since then, he has been in and out of custody on numerous cases. Some of the charges include trafficking drugs, wanton endangerment, fraudulent use of a credit card, DUI, possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and for being a felon with a gun. Well, the Second Amendment made no special, considerations for the government having any recourse to take away your firearms, because your firearms and the right to defend them and shit comes from keeping that tyrannical government at check. And the sad thing is, a lot of them people that have been in the system, well, when you take somebody, a human being, and then throw them in cages and treat them like animals, they get a little more animalistic. They'll go to a little bit further extreme than most. And they know this. And they also know, that the government also knows that they have put countless amount of people in prison, and some even to fucking death, that were fucking dead ass fucking innocent. And these former prosecutors and cops are even trying to gaslight the judges. Cops will say, well, we don't know the law, we just enforce it. Anyway, says he was also been charged with domestic violence. It says charged, not convicted, which was later amended to a disorderly conduct conviction. He's repeatedly violated his diversion and then his probation. He would then be revoked. Fraser was most recently indicted by a grand jury in 22 of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and tampering with physical evidence. Neither one are egregious, and so far I see basis not for the first one, and it depends. They're probably saying he tried to alter the gun in some way. They reached out to Eggert for comment and received the following statement. Good morning, Natalia. The Office of the Commonwealth Attorney is aware of a recent ruling by Judge Melissa Logan Bellows that deviates from well-established precedent norm and case law. You notice they know, it said established and precedent norm, and then come up with case law, because they know that case law is standing on a fucking unconstitutional platform. Anyway, we disagree with the ruling, and we are initiating steps to appeal it. Judges can make their own interpretations regarding the law, and here's some fault right there. They can make their own interpretation, but they are subject to the appellate scrutiny, which provides checks and balances. Now, this whole argument was thrown in and made on it's unconstitutional to take a felon's right. And it's definitely unconstitutional for the government. It says these are unabridged rights, God-given right. Well, unabridged means you can't take it away, and God-given means that, God's the only one that can take or receive or revoke. The ruling in the case of Jacory Lamont Fraser, 22 CR 0450, was to dismiss the charge of a convicted felon in possession of a handgun, 527.040, As a determination was made by the court, the charge was unconstitutional. For legal context, in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Incorporated versus Bruin, Bruen, in June of 22, the Supreme Court struck down the New York public carry licensing law, which required applicants for pistol concealed carry licenses to show proper cause or a special need that was differentiated from that of the general public when applying. The ruling has led to various motions to dismiss in cases across the country and attempts to appeal the ruling in other cases where firearm restrictions apply. Prior to that ruling in Posey versus Commonwealth in February of '06, the Kentucky Supreme Court ruled that a felon in possession of a firearm prohibitions did not violate Kentucky Constitution. The Kentucky Supreme Court ruled that felon in possession of firearm prohibitions did not. So the Supreme Court of Kentucky held up taking one's rights did not violate the Constitution or the state of Kentucky. The language in the Brewing decision regarded law-abiding citizens in the absence of a Supreme Court ruling regarding felons in specific. We are taking into account the Brewing language in the Kentucky Supreme Court determination that prohibiting felons from carrying guns is in line with the state constitution. Well, that don't mean that it's in line with the Constitution. So if it's not in line with the Constitution, it is null and void. And this here is just the girl's motion. I'm not going to read all the motion. Unless y'all want me to. If y'all want me to read the motion, put one in there. But anyway, she agreed with the motion that it's unconstitutional to deprive a convicted felon of their Second Amendment. Now that I'm going to go ahead and play this little news clip, and let me come back over here. I want y'all to watch this guy's face, this guy right here, his face, when we do this, when he speaks to it.
That may end up at the Supreme Court. Does the Second Amendment protect the gun rights of convicted felons?
Circuit Court Judge Melissa Logan Bellows just dismissed a gun charge against a felon because she said taking away his gun is
Shooter Natalia Martinez spoke to the attorney who wrote the motion to dismiss the charge.
Now, go back here, man.
Taking away his gun is unconstitutional charge. Court Judge Melissa Logan Bellows just dismissed a gun charge against a felon because she said taking away his gun.
Look how dejected he looks.
Protect the gun rights of convicted felons.
Circuit Court Judge Melissa Logan Bellows just dismissed a gun charge against a felon because she said taking away his gun is unconstitutional.
Wave News troubleshooter Natalia Martinez spoke to the attorney who wrote the motion to dismiss the charge for a debate that's giving both parties a run for their money.
That attorney basically said, where in the Second Amendment does it say felons can't have guns? This ruling is what everyone at the courthouse is talking about, and it's turning common arguments on their head.
Which is more important, the right to bear arms or protecting people from felons that have guns?
It's a question now posed after Jefferson County Circuit Court Judge Melissa Logan Bellows ruled the Second Amendment protects the gun rights of felons too. Bellows is a conservative judge. Her ruling, though, is likely muddying the waters for pro-gun voters who are also tough on crime.
A lot of gun activists hold their hat on everyone can have a gun but not the convicted felons.
The ruling came in the case against Ja'Cory Frazier. He faced a gun charge as a felon. His attorney, Rob Eggert, filed the motions to dismiss in October. Attorney Tricia Lister wrote that motion. She told me the possession by a felon charge is simply a way to disarm people of color, with 70% of those prosecuted being a minority. I asked if she was worried about violent offenders having guns again. She replied, the law should apply equally to everyone. The Commonwealth Attorney's Office said Judge Bellows has deviated from well-established
This is one sexy ass bitch right here. I'm sorry. And simply for the fact she loves fucking freedom. And that she's smart enough to understand that that argument that was posed was just, right, and correct. That it was absolutely the right and correct thing to do. So she's a fucking hero in my book.
President and norm, stating, quote, judges can make their own interpretations regarding the law, but they are subject to appellate scrutiny, which provides checks and balances on the judicial system. They are going to appeal, likely landing the case before the Supreme Court.
I think not all convicted felons are the same. And that's maybe...
This guy's a dumbass. He's an authoritarian. He's a fucking... he's just a dumbass, gaslighting motherfucker. It ought to be common sense. Well, if we're going to go with common sense says the Second Amendment never had a fucking open spot for the government, which the Second Amendment is there to protect us from, having any say in somebody's personal right to protect themselves from said fucking government.
Be where Kentucky needs to change the law and say if you are a violent felon or used a gun in a felony or you have hurt someone, then you...
And say, his argument here is, well, we can still do it, if, well, now we're going to say that they're violent felons and that they used a gun in the commission and all that. So we can take them people right. No, that ain't what the Second Amendment says. That is not what the Second Amendment says at all. It does not give the government any room to violate, take somebody's rights to own a gun. Or whatever it takes to defend ourselves from the government. Or to overthrow that government. Which, technically means I need my keys to the silo. Because there's a fucking head of war out there with my name on it. And yes, I told you my language... just a, FKUYA KTNA Igpayatnay Uyayone Otway I Edsay Uyay Ukphase. I've not done that in years. Anyway,
you cannot own a gun.
Here's the rundown on Frazier. He has prior convictions for trafficking drugs, possession of drugs, wanton endangerment, and using a fraudulent credit card. He's been caught before for having a gun as a felon and was also charged with domestic violence, which was amended down to disorderly conduct. He's also violated his diversion and his probation in the past. We have full statements online right now and the arguments filed so that you can read them for yourself. Natalia Martinez, Wave News.
All right. Thank you so much, Natalia.
Okay. So there's that. Remember that. But let's check it out. I mean, do you folks think that it's legit that the government can take Second Amendment? Because I don't. I think it's some bullshit. Some bullshit. But Let's see. Let's check this one out. I love this shit. We're going to do a little something here. Let me see. I'm not liking this audio. It is not suitable for the moment. And just get rid of this little motherfucker. And then they will do this. Do this.
This is stuff that you got to talk about with your. This is stuff that you got to talk about with your lawyer. I can't.
I stopped the threat. We would have all been shot.
Hey, check that out. I stopped to help somebody who's been shot. I'm getting arrested.
Heroes are usually rewarded for their actions, but unfortunately these heroes are arrested.
I remember this one. The cop telling her what medical procedure was going to be.
Instead, and the reasons are insane. Here are some cases where the heroes were shown the prison door, starting with this hero who tried to save the victim of an accident.
Thank you for teaching me not to be helpful, you fat...
On October 9th, 2020, retired firefighter Joseph Garce was driving in Santa Paula, California, when he spotted a shooting victim, Samir Salgado, lying in a pool of blood in a parking lot. Without hesitation, Garce exited his vehicle and began administering CPR to the victim. Shortly after, police officers from the Santa Paula Police Department arrived at the scene.
Don't go to the car. Don't go to that car. Stay over here. Stay over here. Stay over here. Come over here. That's your car?
That's my car. I was driving by. I saw him. I'm a retired firefighter.
Okay.
I'm not a part of this.
We don't know anything about that. We see a gun in the car. You're not going there. Do you have your ID?
It's in the car.
What's your name?
Joe Garces.
Joe Garces, you got to relax, okay? We know you're helping us out.
Wait, but you guys aren't listening either. That's part of the problem. Yeah.
So I said we appreciate your being involved, okay? We're just running.
That's his knife. I took it out of his pocket to cut his shirt off.
And that's your vehicle?
Yeah, I was driving north. I saw the lady. They were looking this way, and I saw him down, and I thought it was beer or something. Spun around and came in, saw the blood. She said they were calling 911. I screamed, has he been shot? And she said, yeah, as I was pulling in.
Okay. Saw
the gunshot wound to the side of his face. I did a quick check.
Look at the cop down here. He's been doing CPR on this guy.
Found the gun in his waistband, rendered it useless, stuck it inside my car. Grabbed his knife, cut off his shirt, and then you guys started showing up.
Okay. Did you see anybody running, anybody leaving the area, anything?
Not a thing.
Garce provided further details on the incident. Initially, the interaction was respectful. However, the situation took a dark turn for the worse when Santa Paula Police Detective Rivera arrived and began to adopt a condescending attitude.
Not a thing.
Get this guy out of here. Sir.
He's a witness.
What the?
Relax.
We appreciate it.
Huh?
Sir, I got a crime scene, sir. I'm a detective.
Yeah, and I'm here helping him, so step the off. Okay? If you're a good detective, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. You'd be taking care of your job.
Over here.
You. I can't get the out of here. Get out of my crime. Get out of my crime scene.
Don't have to take off, dumbass.
I'm going to make you next time. Get out of my crime scene.
Come with me, Mr. Garces. Mr. Garces.
That's my...
Come with me, Mr. Garces.
Where's the fucking tape? Does anybody see any crime tape up? Crime scene tape? Nope. None. These fucking Nazi ass motherfuckers Hell Shitler. That's what they ought to be shouting. Oh, boy, I'm so excited for this fucking eclipse. And I hope we end up with 72 hours of darkness, because that will be the fucking start. Yes, it will. Oh, the devil's comment. Anyway, be the start of the purging brake lines. That way, this motherfucker can't stop. Get that fucking locomotive rolling, and we're gonna roll.
People will give you guys the benefit of the doubt, and I worked with you for 27 years. When do I get my car back then? Hey, tell them. Thank you for teaching me not to be helpful, you fat piece.
You have to step back. Step back. Step back. Step back. Step back. Step back. I don't know who you're.
Oh yeah, so now you're gonna come over with me, huh? You're doing a really good job right now, aren't you?
I need you to back up.
You need to calm him. I need you to back up.
Right.
No,
I got him. Come here.
You need to.
Take it down a notch.
You can take it down a notch.
Look at
Somebody here's not controlling it.
Now, this is a fucking detective, and he got his little fucking pussy pounded full of sand. The tyrant's feelings are hurt because he knows he's a piece of shit, and he knows this dude's calling him out on it. And he's okay with being a piece of shit as long as you don't really know he's a piece of shit or say he's a piece of shit. Hell Shitler.
Down. You.
Take a deep breath.
Don't be a hypocrite.
I've taken a deep breath. It's your turn now.
Yeah, go be
Then walk the fuck away.
Talk like adults. I'll let you go. You want to talk like
you
an adult?
start talking to me like an adult?
Do you understand how I need to do
You
my
see
job?
what you're doing wrong?
If you know how to do this job and you have a badge, then you would understand. Now, do you
That ain't the way to do the fucking job, boy.
So
148 if you have a badge?
It's so
Do you have a
He just told you he was a fucking firefighter for 27 years, you punk bitch. And look how mad that motherfucker is. Look at the rage in his eye. This dude's eat up with lick my fucking boot syndrome.
badge?
Yes,
Are you
I do.
retired?
Yes.
Do you want to go for 148 for being in a crime scene? Just because sergeant...
You don't have anything taped off. The other motherfucker was questioning him, and then you roll up talking dumb shit, punk bitch. Look at the fire in that motherfucker's eye. He's like, boy, listen here, boy. You sure got a pretty mouth, and you gonna learn to listen to me, boy.
Children know how to do their job, and you were a
You
cop
saying
at
your
one time.
sergeant doesn't know how to do his job?
Take him. Turn him around.
Take him for what?
Where's your badge at?
In my Jeep, like I keep saying, but
Where
you
at
won't
your
listen.
Jeep? We're adding your Jeep.
Hey, you go see it when you look
Do you
at the
want
fucking
your
Jeep.
car? Do you want me to have to write a search warrant and keep it, or do you want to keep your car? Do you want to get home as soon as possible?
I'm not.
Do you want to go along and comply with what I say, or you want me to use my power of discretion to fuck you over and to fuck your life up? If you don't want me to fuck your life up, then suck my dick, boy. This is just like Hollywood. He said, I'm not taking it anymore. You're going to bow. You're going to comply, or you will violate your subscription to consume oxygen.
Talking to you. Okay.
Sink him in 64. What's your first name?
Joe. Hey, check that out. I stopped to help somebody who's been shot. I'm getting arrested.
For a second.
Garcia was confined in the back of the patrol car for almost 15 minutes before Detective Rivera released him, stating that he was free to leave. As a result of the encounter, Garcia endured a dislocated shoulder and a torn labrum, injuries requiring surgical intervention. Subsequently, Garcia pursued legal action against Detective Rivera and...
Hey, check that out. I stopped to help somebody who's been shot. I'm getting arrested.
Have a seat for a second.
Garcia was confined in the back of the patrol car for almost 15 minutes before Detective Rivera released him, stating that he was free to leave. As a result of the encounter, Garcia endured a dislocated...
I'm going to slow this down a lot. I want you to look at the torque and the tweak he puts on this dude's arm. I mean, it's an arm bar at a stress point on the fucking weak joints. This was intentional. Look at the clench in the jaw. Now, this little piece right here is the collar, I think, on his shirt. That's what it looks like. But you can see how tight he's got his fucking teeth. He's gritting his fucking teeth because he's mad. And he's fixing the fucking winch on it.
Located shoulder.
I see the arms up behind the back.
Now,
this is off of his shoulder. This right here is his elbow. His arm's down like that. Now he's going to wrap his hand up and collapse it on that elbow now.
Injuries.
Oh, that's dude's hand. See, he twisted that up around his arm and nearly made his own hand touch his elbow. Watch it real slow motion.
Garcia endured a dislocated shoulder and a torn labrum.
That's
Injuries
his elbow,
requiring surgical intervention. Before Detective Rivera released him, stating that he was free to leave. As a result of the encounter, Garcia endured a dislocated shoulder and a torn labrum.
That dude's hand right there behind his body camera. Here's his other hand. He's got the hand pointed at the elbow. And the shoulder tweaked up. So, when your shoulder's tweaked up, you can't hardly roll it back that way, the way he's trying to make it go. You damn sure can't do it on your own. But speed her up.
Before Detective Rivera released him, stating that he was free to leave. As a result of the encounter, Garcia endured a dislocated shoulder and a torn labrum, injuries requiring surgical intervention. Subsequently, Garcia pursued legal action against Detective Rivera and the city of Santa Paula, ultimately reaching a settlement out of court. While Garcia did receive compensation, he would think twice before intervening to save anyone again. However, the situation proved even worse for the next hero, who would ultimately regret his heroic actions forever. Army veteran Matt Solon and Michael Loudermilk, the son of a Georgia congressman, were out with their girlfriends in a parking lot when a gunman, identified as Dwight Cooper, attempted to threaten them with a gun. Matt swiftly disarmed and subdued the gunman, forcing him to the ground, and promptly dialed 911 after taking the firearm away from him.
Someone pulled a gun on me. This guy asked for a cigarette. We told him he doesn't have a cigarette. He's drunk, and he pulled a gun out on us. I disarmed him.
Who has the gun?
I have the gun. It's disarmed. It has hollow points in it. It's a Glock.
I want you to stand there, and I want you to put that gun on the ground, okay? Do not have it in your...
Join large-scale battles with military vehicles. The online action game War Thunder has received a major update.
Hand when they pull up.
Okay, it's on the ground.
Okay, tell them the gun's here and point to the ground, but keep your hands to where they can see them.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Where did that come from? It came from him bleeding from the head. The guy bleeding from the head? Yes, sir.
I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. Okay, do you think people ever lie to the police? Is it possible?
I could have got shot today.
Yep, me too. That's my job.
I was in the military for 6 years.
Congratulations,
I was
sir.
in Afghanistan. I know exactly what dangerous is. I'm not armed.
Now, y'all caught that too. Look how belittling and demeaning he is when he says this. He dismisses the guy, not, hey man, fucking way to go. You got to be careful. None of that shit.
Okay, do you think people ever lie to the police? Is it possible?
I could have got shot today.
Yep, me too. That's my job.
I was in the military for 6 years. I think I know.
Congratulations,
sir. I was in Afghanistan. I know exactly.
Now, we'll slow this down so you can hear it real good. As you can see, the gun's right here.
Thank you.
Where did that come from? It came from him bleeding from the head. The guy bleeding from the head? Yes, sir.
I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. Okay.
Now, mind you, guy's on the phone when they pull up. He sees them pulled in. He drops the gun, hands up, backs away.
Hey, do you think people ever lie to the police? Is it
Now, mind you, he's a caller, and this is one of the rare instances where the guy that actually makes the phone call, and it's a legitimate complaint and a call for service, that they don't go immediately, even without finding out what's going on, to, the issue. Say it's an auditor out there filming. They immediately go to the altar and try to hem them up, without getting any story, find out what's going on. All motherfuckers standing out there, But anyway, y'all know what I'm saying. And and he's talking to dispatch, and dispatch is telling them this guy's the one that's calling. This is a deal.
possible?
I could have got shot today.
Yep, me too. That's my job.
I was in the military for 6 years. I think I know that.
Congratulations,
I was
sir.
in Afghanistan. I know exactly where danger is. If I'm not armed, you want to test me or frisk me or whatever?
You're fine. Just don't move and then there's not next to it there. Don't go reaching in your pocket, man.
Nah,
you just
Put away to get thrown on the ground. Don't be stupid.
I understand completely. You're not exactly.
Now, in that little altercation there, dude said, "You want to press me, whatever?" And now, and most time, just well as they do, they're like break them over the car, fucking, we're just patting you down. They're stroking their Johnsons and touching their booty holes. But dude's like, press me down. Isn't that a officer safety issue that he didn't press that dude? Huh? They're always, and in Chile's little ruling, the judge ruled on the argument was, or the judge's basis of the decision and rejection of his attorney's argument. She never addressed the First Amendment issues and the way the cop violated his rights. She addressed officer and the potential victim, their potential victim safety. That's what she addressed in his ruling. Well, this cop absolutely violated that judge's feelings, because it goddamn sure didn't violate the law that says anything about officer safety issue. And here's my stance on officer safety. If you're that big of a fucking pussy that you can't run around with radios and guns and gadgets and a fucking tinfoil motherfucking badge and a blowed up ego and handle your motherfucking shit, fuck you and your safety. Because I myself, on several occasions, have interjected into shit that wasn't going on, that wasn't right. And I didn't think about my safety. I thought about the motherfucker I was looking out for. I stepped in because I had confidence in my ability to handle it, no matter what the fucking cost. And these guys are, I was scared. Well, listen here, little scaredy pants, get the fuck out of a public service job, and that your job's to get shot at.
You ain't cooperative either.
Thanks, company. Was he reaching for his pocket?
I'm putting him in my car.
Sure. That is something wrong?
I don't know what's going on. We're trying to detain you to figure out what's going on. Does that make sense?
Nope. Yeah, okay. Something wrong. Did I do something wrong or no?
Look at it this way, man.
I'm done talking.
Anytime we show up on a call, we have to do what we can for safety reasons until we can.
Oh, we have to do what we can for safety reasons. Well, he obviously cuffed the dude. Now, this dude's been drinking. He is at a club. But he cuffs the dude and shoves him in the car for safety reasons. After the dude asked him to frisk him for safety reasons, and then was going to give him his ID. I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. Dude was going to give him his ID. But anyway, the cop jumped to him right in the cuffs for safety reasons until we can ask everybody questions.
Safely ask everybody questions.
Well, why don't you ask the victim of the crime, this guy here, and his girlfriend? They're the first ones you talk to. But no, you arrest him or custodial detention.
We got one guy with a gun, one guy bleeding, so we detain and we wait till everything calms down. Then we start asking questions and kind of figure out what happens in the scenario, just so you know why you're sitting back here.
No, I have no idea why I'm sitting back here. It doesn't explain anything.
That's fucking cop-splaining at his fucking worst. And, I mean, just fucking horrible people here. Just horrible people. But you know they are when they think they have a higher claim over freedom, life, and liberty.
Matt, step up now.
Yes, sir.
Your stuff. Control, I feel like.
You had what under control?
The whole situation. I had him on the ground. I'm taking care of the ambulance. I had it disarmed. And what else did you guys do?
All I'm told is that you're the last one to have the gun. You started touching your pockets and everything. I asked you not to, and you're like, hey, I'm the hero, or whatever you were saying.
Okay, sorry, sir. I see your perspective.
Matt was arrested and subsequently charged.
Absolute gaslighting right there. Even then, he told him, I had everything under control. I was talking to dispatch. The gun was on the ground. No. What the fuck is y'all's problem? And yet again, he goes, well, you're saying you're a hero. Well, I fucking put an end to the situation. I disarmed the guy, rendered medical aid, and called you fucks.
Charged with felony possession of a firearm. Subsequent media interviews with the police chief and Matt himself provided further insight into the events of that day and the unjust reasons behind his wrongful arrest.
In your view, is Matt Solon a hero?
During his initial response, that yes, I agree with that comment. I think when the second act was taken, that's where the lines crossed, where he protected himself and the people he was with, and I commend him for that. Then part two is where he took action beyond that, and that's where he did cross the line.
Did that appear to be punitive rather than defensive?
Now, hold on. I from what I just seen in that clip, looked like a couple of them, he might have shit kicked him. Put the boots to him. Well, how many times do we see the cops doing that? 19 of them, hands behind his back, they're pounding his ass. Quit resisting, quit hurting my fucking snowflake feelings.
Yes, that's what I saw.
In contrast, Matt provided a different account.
I asked over and over and over again, what am I being arrested for? And Officer O'Brien said, he has rights too.
The gunman has rights.
The gunman has rights too. He was restrained and you hit him while he was restrained and that's why you're going to jail. And I was like, he's never been restrained. He's not restrained.
How long were you in jail?
About 35 hours.
The guy who pulls the gun isn't the one who goes to jail that night. You go to jail.
Exactly.
He isn't arrested till the next month.
No, and he's giving his gun back. They're going to see this.
You know why this guy went to jail? Because he made the cops look like the pussies that they are. He outed them for being the pussies that they are. He took the gunman's own gun away from him and then got felonious possession or felony possession of a firearm for taking dude's gun away from him. I believe he said dude was drunk and they give the dude's gun back to him. I ain't never heard of this shit.
When they run my plate that I've been arrested before.
For a gun-related charge.
For a gun-related charge, right. And they're going to think in their head, oh, this guy just had a good lawyer. He got off it.
The district attorney dismissed all charges against Matt Solon, acknowledging that he had acted in self-defense. However, the damage had already been done. If you're enjoying the video so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. The officer's actions permanently ruined Matt's record, but their actions were nothing in comparison to the subsequent...
See, that's something else I have issue with. They should not be allowed to report what you've been charged with. If they charged and then they were dismissed, they ought to be completely fucking gone. Because of shit just like this. Because these dirty motherfuckers know they can get charged and their shit will go away or be swept under a rug or the big brother's going to take care of it. But they can charge us knowing that we're fucking innocent. And even in some of these felony dope cases where cops have been caught planting dope on motherfuckers, felony amounts and shit. And even when the cop gets a little bit of what's coming to him, them charges are still on them fucking people's records.
Officer's actions. On February 4th, 2014, an unbelievable event occurred when a CHP Highway Patrol officer arrested Chula Vista firefighter Jacob Gregoire. The Chula Vista firefighters had been providing medical assistance to victims of a rollover motor accident using their fire trucks to block traffic. When the officer instructed them to move their trucks, warning that failure to comply would result in arrest, Jacob chose to stay, insisting that he had a duty to the victim and could not simply abandon them.
Okay, I don't have time for a cell phone. This is ridiculous. CHP is arresting Engineer Gregoire for where he spotted the fire engine.
Look at this hero and zero.
Middle of patient care with patient patient's on the freeway. They're putting him in handcuffs at this time and walking him away.
The Chula Vista firefighter chief supported his colleague's decision, affirming that prioritizing the victim's life was important. Firefighter Jacob was released half an hour later. The firefighter in this instance showed great bravery by prioritizing the victim's life above all else. However, the hero in the next case faced severe consequences for undertaking a similar act of bravery. On July 26, 2017, police officers from the Salt Lake City Police Department
reaching for a phone, trying to snatch her phone. And just like the judge in Chili's case, confiscating his phones, and anybody that wanted to stay in the courtroom, wanted to seize their phones, or told them to get the fuck out of her courtroom. Well, where's your federal warrant, bitch?
Arrived at the University of Utah Hospital to obtain a blood sample from a victim who was involved in an accident after a vehicle pursued by the police during a car chase collided against his car, causing it to explode and resulting in several injuries and burns, leaving the victim in a coma. Upon their arrival, their attempts were halted by the charge nurse, Alex Woobles, and the ensuing interaction quickly descended into chaos.
Why is Amazon paying me $63,000 a month? Well, I didn't make this kind of money selling yoga mats.
I printed this off. This is what I was told to print off. I have this. It says obtaining blood samples for police enforcement from patients suspected to be under the influence. Okay? This was something that you guys agreed to with this hospital. The three things that allow us to do that are if you have an electronic warrant, patient consent, or patient under arrest. And neither of those things, the patient can't consent. He told me repeatedly that he doesn't have a warrant, and the patient is not under arrest. So I'm just trying to just do what I'm supposed to do. That's all. So I take it now. Those in place.
No, you don't. That's right. Okay. If you don't have none of that shit in place to get it, and y'all made the agreement, and not only that, without that in place, the law says you can't get that. And actually, once you release a patient from the scene of an accident, now, if a cop calls for it, I know because I lived through this. Once you release a patient from the scene and that patient's at the hospital or being under arrest, then because the Arkansas Highway State Patrol went to the hospital in Conway and tried to get a blood test on me, told the emergency room doctor that they wanted one. The doctor told him the fucking law and that he wasn't going to give me one until they brought the kid that hit us in and got one, and then he probably still wouldn't. And they had just given me my release papers when it walked in, and the little nurse come back in because I'd gathered my shit up to late, go out and smoke. And she's like, oh, you sit here just a minute, they're out here doing this and blah, blah, blah. Well, after a minute, I go ahead and walk out around, kind of snake out the building. And I wasn't hiding from the cops. I was standing out there by the bitch's car. And she come out there and won't do this and that and another. And I had a set of scales in my rig, a whole set of carburetor scales or leather scales. And the thing was that the gator clip that you hook whatever you're weighing to was gone, so they were non-functionable scales, regardless of what they were used for. They were not operational. They could not work. So there you go. And that's just what it is. Anyway.
The nurse intervened to prevent the officer from obtaining a blood sample from the unconscious patient, citing hospital policy supported by legal regulations. It was unsurprising that the officers failed to meet the necessary requirements. Their motive for seeking the blood samples was closer from obtaining a blood sample from the unconscious. Quickly descended into chaos.
I printed this off. This is what I was told to print off. I have this. It says obtaining blood samples for police enforcement from patients suspected to be under the influence. Okay? This is something that you guys agreed to with this hospital. The three things that allow us to do that are if you have an electronic warrant, patient consent, or patient under arrest. And neither of those things, the patient can't consent. He told me repeatedly that he doesn't have a warrant, and the patient is not under arrest. So I'm just trying to just do what I'm supposed to do. That's all. So I take it without those in place. That's not clear to surmise that.
The nurse intervened to prevent the officer from obtaining a blood sample from the unconscious patient, citing hospital policy supported by legal regulations. It was unsurprising that the officers failed to meet the necessary requirements. Their motive for seeking the blood samples was questionable. They sought to determine if the victim had consumed drugs or alcohol, potentially to justify the car crash, as police regulations strongly discourage high-speed chases in busy traffic to avoid endangering civilian lives, a protocol the officers neglected, resulting in the collision.
She's the one that said no.
Frustrated about not having his way, the officer proceeded to do something unbelievable.
Tried to snatch her phone.
Hey.
She's the one that told me no.
Hey.
Detective Jeff Payne, later identified as the officer in question, forcefully grabbed the nurse, slamming her against the wall and handcuffing her simply because she had chosen to uphold the law and protect her patient's rights. Shortly thereafter, Detective Payne's supervisor, Lieutenant James Tracy, arrived at the scene and began to pressure and manipulate the nurse into complying with their demands for the blood sample.
I appreciate you have a policy for that. No, I don't. No, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm being told what to do and what I've been told. And what I'm trying to tell you is, we wanted blood from this guy. Now, I have talked to people, and there's probably a much better solution that we could come to, okay? But, all we had to do was get the blood, okay? And my point is, now,
the guy says they've got other means and whatnot. They don't have to do it this way. But my point is, you didn't do what we told you to, no matter the legality, no matter if you're just doing your job and following your policy. Our fucking policy says you'll comply when we tell you to fucking comply.
If we're breaking the law, if we're doing wrong, okay, just listen to me. Listen to me. If we're doing wrong, there are civil remedies, okay? If we're losing poison tree, if we took this blood illegally, it all goes away, all right? So there's civil remedies if we make a mistake. But I'm telling you,
even though we are doing wrong, and it's all going to go away and it's not going to be any good, is bitch, I don't care if you get fired. I don't care what it costs you. You're going to do what in the fuck I told you to fucking do.
You're not making mistakes, okay? I've done this for 22 plus years. I know what the law is when it comes to searching people, all right? And what you have done, because your boss is telling you to, has been to prevent this officer who's called out to do his job. That's obstructing the justice, okay?
The two officers.
Now, they're threatening intimidation. I know the laws, and this is fucking obstruction and blah, blah, blah. Well, for one, obstruction's a physical act. Two, he's like, just let us break the law. We know we're breaking the law, but if you don't let us break the law, we're going to break it off in you.
Clearly have serious ego issues. The nurse was eventually released. She chose not to pursue charges against the officers or the police department, but despite this, Detective Jeff Payne was subsequently terminated from his position, and Lieutenant Tracy was demoted 2 ranks below to the role of a patrol officer after internal investigations conducted by the Salt Lake Police Department. The next case brings us to Loveland, where police fabricated charges against a Good Samaritan.
There's no reason for this. Get my...
Wow. Wow. Well, I mean, what the fuck, man? And yet, time after time, motherfuckers get mad at people for fucking filming in public businesses. Fucking or filming police stops. And have they programmed you motherfuckers so much that y'all beg for these change? Y'all beg for the change of oppression, hoping and banking, betting the farm on that sliver of security. Make me a slave, massa. They got you motherfuckers begging for it. And it blows me away. We were talking about planting drugs on people and all this other. We're going to jump over here.
former sheriff's deputy was charged with 67 counts of racketeering, fabricating
I ain't
evidence, false
showing the
imprisonment,
video.
and possession of controlled substances. Wester's accused of planning.
Now then, I will come back and show the video now.
Drugs in a dozen vehicles during random traffic stops.
They said it appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that? I do not.
All of the drivers denied owning the drugs, but yet most were subsequently arrested.
You have the right to remain silent.
The arrest caused suspicion internally, and in 2018, Wester was suspended. 3 years later, the case went to trial. He pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Not guilty.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put, and we have to put, in law enforcement in a society.
The prosecution relied on the defendant's own.
So, it's I mean, what can you say? They're caught red motherfucking handed. And
own body cam footage to help argue their case. Stephen Vann, a convicted felon, had recently gotten out of jail when Wester supposedly found methamphetamine in his car.
Have you ever seen this before? No, what is that? I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car.
I'm just trying to figure out how it got in there. Wink, 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 buddy, buddy, rough. I put the shit in there.
You're going to deal with possession of methamphetamine, okay? Oh, man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything, what you want me to do, man?
Like the other drivers who testified,
what do you want me to do, man? What do you want me to do, man?
Vann gave the officer permission to search his car because he claims he had nothing to hide.
And I knew my truck was clean. I knew it was.
While the jury got to watch most of the traffic stops, some recordings had mysteriously disappeared.
Why in the world would that have been deleted? I wish I knew that answer.
Look at it. I wish I knew that answer. Look at this clown. I wish I knew that answer.
I wish I knew that answer.
Ironically, body cam footage would become the strongest element in the prosecution's case, especially when it came to Teresa Odom.
Hi, how are you? I'm good.
At first, the officer's polite, even playful.
Anything to be funny concerned about bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers. Okay.
While Odom stands behind the vehicle, Wester begins his search. Notice as he prepares to put his gloves on, there's a small item in his left hand.
Yeah.
Prosecutors argue that Wester is palming a small bag of meth, which he claims to find next to a spoon in the vehicle.
So,
It is yogurt, sir.
okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, son?
That is not mine. No, sir.
Now, the white small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video. Had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in the car?
No, he hadn't seen it before. We've already.
As far as motive, the prosecution claims the 28-year-old officer was ambitious and wanted to move to narcotics as quickly as possible.
Yeah, ambitious, wanted to move to narcotics as quickly as possible. Because then he could rob the real drug dealers, use that dope to plant it on innocent people, collect the money, the fucking money, maybe even their lives. Now tell me these gang-banging motherfuckers ain't a gang.
Wester testified he never planted any drugs.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
And after 5 days and several witnesses, the jury was asked to render a verdict. If Wester's found guilty on all charges, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. After 7 hours, the jury returns with its verdict.
In the state of Florida versus Zachary Tyler Wester, we the jury find as follows as to the counts charged in the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged.
Yeah.
The clerk went on to read the verdicts on all 67 charges.
Count 7, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
Yes.
In total, the crooked officer was found guilty
Look how
of 19
fucking
charges.
Count 9, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
Yeah.
Count 10, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
Yes.
Including misconduct in the arrests of
Look
Vann
at
and
the
Teresa
sweat
Odom.
on his fucking
11 of the
bill.
12 drivers filed civil lawsuits against Wester. In July 2021, he was sentenced to 12 and a half years in a state prison.
Hold on.
Thanks for being a fan of CourtCam. Subscribe to A&E to never...
Hold on. 12 and a half fucking years. Now that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. Let's watch this one.
Grábalos bien, bien, grábalo. Grábalo. Ya, lo están grabando, lo están grabando.
¿Pero qué hizo?
Mira, mira, mira. Mira, mira. No, 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 no. Hey, grábalos bien, bien, grábalo. Grábalo. Ya, lo están grabando, lo están grabando. Mira,
Well, old gal did check him a little bit, you know, in that one, but still, I mean, she was fucking handcuffed. And she didn't do that much, you know. Couldn't have been that painful. I mean, fucking a badass cop. Remember? He's a cop, motherfucker. So there's that. And let's see what this one's about.
Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. We all know police officers exist to enforce laws that our government deemed best to keep us safe and orderly. They're here to keep everything going well. When we see them in uniform, we should feel great, like everything's working like it's supposed to. But that's far from the truth in a lot of instances. These days, we see a lot of discord about police behavior and misuse of authority, and it's always that much more shocking when we see it on camera. Whether they're beating civilians, arresting kids, or asking for hush money. It's truly disgusting to feel like you're a witness to things authority is capable of. In this video, we're going to highlight just 10 crooked cops caught on camera. But before we get started, why not become an archivist today by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell so you miss out on any future uploads. If you end up enjoying this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up, and in the comment section, tell us of other instances of Italy that you know of.
Number 10, just give me some money. This police officer in Johannesburg stopped a couple for allegedly drunk driving. The video doesn't start from the very beginning of the encounter, so it's hard to know everything. But we do see the man in the car set the leading question, which he must have known was going to get a bite. So, what choices do I have? What are my choices? Which is when the officer lays out that he could just pay 200 grand, about $12 US, and even though he's drunk, he'll get off. But see, the man doesn't appear drunk at all. The Johannesburg officer seems to agree, too, after the couple notifies him that they've been recording the entire exchange and would just love to get his badge number. Oops.
So what happens if I say, can I get your badge number?
My badge number?
Yeah.
You want my badge number?
Yes, because you're now actually recording.
Okay.
I want to find your badge number because you've just said that 200 bucks was worth anything.
Number 9, I'll just take this. This video is so wrong, it's almost funny. During a hearing, the man accused stands next to his lawyer in front of the judge, facing the music of whatever crime he's been accused of. Behind them, a police officer stands dangerously close to the defendant's table, where all his paperwork lies. He seems to read over the papers, very interested. Then, suddenly, he grabs one of the pieces of evidence. The video cuts out, and we see another officer take the paper away. What just happened? How is this anywhere in this man's job description? Of course, after being asked to hold a press conference and apologize, which he declined, he was held in jail for 10 days. Had it not been for the camera, this would probably just have been another day on the job. Number 8, crooked.
We'll have to go back and redo that one just a little bit.
For 10 days. Had it not been for the camera, this would probably just have been another day on the job. Number 8, crooked cop versus a YouTuber. Leave it to a YouTuber to have a camera set up in his car. A cop pulls Chris Cowpaw over at a DUI checkpoint and he starts asking the officer questions about whether or not he'll be detained. He shrugged off. The cop's forcing him to get out of the car and watch as they use a canine unit to justify probable cause to search the vehicle. Even though it's a DUI checkpoint, they never actually try to see if he's consumed alcohol or ask any questions about it at all. These crooked cops seem very interested in finding something else. Lo and behold, as soon as they realize that Chris has a camera in the car catching the entire thing on video, the officers let him go. Chris wasn't about to keep quiet about it either, so he uploaded.
I'm going to slow it down. It eats too much. It eats too much at that speed.
The video, and this cop became one of America's most disliked people within a few days.
pull over to the side right there.
Am I being detained or
Pull
am I
over
free
to
to
the side right there. Okay, step on out.
So I'm being detained?
Either pull over the other side.
Number 7, exposed. Most of the time, crooked cops just misuse their authority to get benefits, whether those benefits are cash, credibility, or even power. Sometimes, though, cops are just bad people. This guy, for example, is a classic infiltrated weirdo. The thing about being a cop is whether you're in uniform or plain clothes, you have an image to uphold. You're an officer of the law, on duty and off.
You're an officer of the law, on duty and off. This ain't very good, but we're probably going to...
Officer Adam Fritz exposed himself to little girls who were, at that time, on their way to church. He showed them his penis and asked for directions. Like, don't mind my penis, where's the nearest McDonald's? Officer Fritz was picked up and charged after being caught on surveillance tape. Number 6, cop steals man's pay. This one makes me really angry. When you call the police saying there's a man in the area, the last thing you expect is for the officers who show up to then turn on you, pepper spray you, and steal your money. When the police showed up expecting to find an armed assailant but saw nothing, they proceeded to search the same people who had made the call. They put a man up against the fence, searched him, found money in his pocket, which later turned out to be $1,300, and you can catch the moment when the officer pockets the money. Everyone on the scene tells the cops that what he's doing is just wrong, but they just end up on his bad side. The worst part is, it seems that they never got resolution either.
You see this? Give me my money, man. Give me my money. He just stole his 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 money. That's robbery.
Number 5. Planting evidence. Number 5 is a classic bad cop you'd see in a movie. Luckily, surveillance cameras can still save the day. In this instance, an undercover cop visited a smoke shop, supposedly under instruction to plant evidence. He walks in with his hands inside his jacket pockets, looking pretty shady in fact. He seems to ask the shop owner for something, and while the shop owner's eyes are averted, he walks over to the side of the register and drops a small bag of crack cocaine on the counter. That amount of crack could have put the shop owner away for up to 7 years. Thanks to CCTV footage, though, it's just showing how shady some police can be. The owner was arrested and in jail for 5 days before he could make bail. In the end, the police and DA refused to make a statement and even held on to the tapes for months before the defendant's lawyer was successful in obtaining them.
Wow. And probably out of his own fucking shop, they took the fucking tapes. Holy shit. Crazy shit.
Number 4. Speeding behind me. Do you know what's worse than a cop who hides on the side of the road to catch someone speeding? A cop who is speeding on the highway and then pulls you over for speeding behind him. It sounds crazy, but this crazy cop was going 85 miles per hour with no lights on. His leisurely speed was defiant, probably thinking no one would dare do anything about it. Our cameraman hero was not intimidated, even when he got pulled over by the squad car. He calls the cop out on blowing past him in 60-mile-per-hour traffic, going at least 85. The police, in that case, are as much a danger to the roads as he supposedly is for following them, and he's the one getting pulled over. The officer's partner, who steps in to talk to him, quickly realizes he's got a point, and though they don't admit it, they certainly get real quiet and evasive. Do you think this driver had a point?
You were traveling at 79 miles an hour behind me there. Sir, you were doing 85 miles an hour when you passed me, and apparently that's against the law too. So where do you get off pulling me over for speeding when you flew past a bunch of traffic in 60 miles an hour, no lights, no siren?
Number 3. Canadian cop. Now, I know we're all over the stereotype that Canadians are great people. They may be.
Not really.
Some are nice. They say sorry in that.
Sorry, eh? Canucks. Fucking Canucks. You motherfuckers.
Adorable way, but in every country, there's good people and bad people. In this case, good cops and bad cops.
No.
These 2 young American kids crossed the border for a weekend, probably to take.
Nah, I guess there is good cops and bad cops. The bad cops is every swinging dick, skank ass whole cunt walking a beat with the fucking shield. Anybody that's actively holding up, supporting, and going along with these dirty cops involved in law enforcement in any shape, form, or fashion that are still consuming oxygen are the bad ones. The good ones, we've already had memorial services for, and they're good and in the ground and making fertilizer. That's the difference between a good cop and a bad cop, folks.
Take advantage of the 19-year-old drinking age on the other side of the border and got stopped by a shady cop in the process. He tells them that their radar detector is illegal in Canada. That could be true as far as they know, but the next thing he says is what makes it all the shadier. Since you're not from here, you'll have to pay me now or else you'll get detained. For some reason, after talking to the cop for a couple of minutes, he lets it go and tells them they're getting a big break. It's no wonder why they posted that video afterward.
Number 2. Okay. $600 fine for that.
Is it really?
I get to seize your car. I get to seize it. And since you're not from here, you have to pay me now or else you get detained.
You kidding me?
No, not.
Number 2. Cops don't have Ferrari money. There's getting caught red-handed, and then there's driving to work in the Ferrari you bought with dirty money. When you're a cop and a criminal, you gotta act smart, and this guy just didn't get the memo. This guy from Birmingham, England, was running a side business waiting for men outside of strip clubs to drive them to a brothel, where he then overcharged their credit cards for the services, skimming money from every transaction. As you'd guess, that cash added up quickly. Now, where could a crooked cop put his crooked money? Real estate? Stocks? No, he decided to buy a $250,000 Ferrari and then drive it to work. You know, his work, where a bunch of people catch criminals for a living.
What a fucking idiot. What an idiot, yeah.
Open the door! We're coming in! Open the door now! Seattle Police! This is the wrong room.
We all make mistakes. It's what makes us human and allows us to grow, evolve, and become better. But the cops in today's video made such huge blunders that they deserve to wear the title of dumbest police officer ever.
Hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Don't.
Go back and listen to that a little more. One more time. Yeah.
Hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Don't. Do not. Get the dog off of it. Get the dog off of it. Get the dog.
Members of law enforcement have authority over our well-being, our freedom, and...
I'm gonna read you your rights real quick. All right? All right, listen. I'm gonna read you your rights real quick. All right?
I'm telling you guys that I can confirm where I was, and I can even confirm my activities.
This is Samuel Scott Jr., a black man who had the audacity to call the cops once his car got stolen. And what did the cops do? They figured he was the suspect, so they arrested him. But let's take a step back and start from the beginning. On November 13th, 2018, Samuel Scott Jr. was visiting his aunt. Once he left her house at around 5:40 p.m., he noticed his 2006 Jeep Compass was missing, so he called police to report it being stolen. Several police vehicles converge at the scene, and Scott is immediately detained and handcuffed.
Drink that back of him? Put your hands behind your back of him.
That's a race for that big boy.
Detain right now. I'm gonna explain to you in a minute.
2221, right?
$1,000 in damages. If this was California, the sum would be tripled. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, check out our video entitled When a Suspect Sues Cops and Actually Wins. Not all dumb cops harm innocent civilians. Some do it to themselves, like these TikTok star wannabes.
This Orange County Sheriff's deputy has been punished for a video she posted on TikTok. Yet, despite the punishment, she continues to create new videos while wearing her uniform.
The punishment came down when her supervisor apparently saw her streaming on TikTok Live while on duty. She was reprimanded, but footage from her TikTok account surfaced, and she came under investigation. Her colleagues felt the videos were inappropriate and embarrassing. The officer, named Shelby Abramson, was suspended from her job for disobeying her superiors and unbecoming conduct. She claims the suspension came because of the explicit lyrics in one of the videos.
Abramson has been creating TikTok videos of herself in uniform since shortly after she was videos of her 80,000 followers. According to this internal report, although most of the videos Deputy Abramson posted were benign, years ago, those TikTok videos.
Shell to the B, huh? Pretty unique name there. Say you now.
Videos have earned her 80,000 followers. According to this internal report, although most of the videos Deputy Abramson posted were benign, some of the audio tracks contained foul language and sexually explicit lyrics.
However, it seems
explicit lyrics, huh? Well, how about the way they talk to us? Wouldn't you call that explicit lyrics? Huh? I would.
She didn't learn her lesson, or did she? Orange County Sheriff's Office does not allow employees to engage in social media activity that could negatively affect the public perception of the agency, and directs employees to refrain from posting agency logos, uniforms.
Get that back up there on it. Orange County Sheriff's Office doesn't allow employees to engage in social media activities that could negatively affect the public perception of the agency. Well, from a sheep standpoint, even with the illicit lyrics, it would seem that she was a happy, upbeat cop from what I've seen. And it's been a while since I've seen her videos, but but anyway, tyranny level in any of her videos or whatever. It asked employees to refrain from posting agents. Ask. So there's that.
Or similar identifying items on personal social media pages. Even so, she continued making videos, although as she claims off-duty. This is what she had to say about her suspension.
Okay, so I just kind of want to address that comment right there because that's not the first one that I've recently seen going around. So here we go. Okay, so regarding that, yes, I did get in trouble because I got suspended, but it was not.
I wasn't doing them on duty. It was because I was doing them in uniform. You know, so you got to give her that, I reckon.
But she claimed that she only wanted to show that cops are also human beings and not just bad guys behind a gun. I don't know about you, but I'd rather meet a bubbly, smiling officer in the street than a rugged type with a bad temper.
So she kindly admitted that not only is she human, she's trying to get us to see that while she wants to act higher than human, wearing that tinfoil badge. And, you know, she's wanting to control the narrative and the perspective. And she was, you know, doing it for the benefit of the popo. Fact, you know, and so, you know, I've seen a hell of a lot more or worse cop being.
Temper and itchy fingers. What about you? Do you agree? Similar to Deputy Adams, another female officer took to TikTok, but her public announcement caused an uproar.
This
And
bitch here needs to be ventilated cranium, elongated neck, tall tree, short ropes, top shit. This is absolutely the face of what the Second Amendment supports.
rightfully so. This is Federal Way Police Department Officer Brianna Strauss, and she decided to make a smug public service announcement to all the drivers out there. Take a look at this.
PSA to everyone out there. I'm speaking for myself, but I'm probably speaking for a large majority of other officers out there. If we're driving on the freeway in our police car, get the out of the way. Get the out of the way. If you merge and we follow behind you and we merge too, you're probably in trouble. The best way to find that out is get the out of the way. I can go 90 miles an hour. You can't. You can't do that. So get the out of the way. If us officers stay behind you long enough, we can find a reason to pull you over. So you might as well get the out of the way. Super simple. That's all. You're welcome.
Jeez. Can she be more cringy? First of all, her entire demeanor is pompous and authoritative. She acts like she's better than everyone in Carolina. Professional acrobat Samantha Panda was placed in handcuffs after a Karen at the beach reported her bikini. Her friends got involved and started filming and questioning the officers.
If you stop acting like this, Sam, just relax. Just relax, all right? Well, no. So, she's being detained. She's being detained right now. Okay, all right. Okay, and how is that? How is she just acting in your eyes? That's all I want to see. No, she didn't say that. She asked you. She asked you if she wants, if you can show her the penal code that says, or the law. The ordinance. I'm asking you to go to my car so I can get out the. If you want to see it, you have to come to the car.
Really uncomfortable. What is this reasoning? We're not going anywhere. You're not going to what?
So, why is it illegal to have a bikini on the beach?
I literally wear this to the beach every day.
We're going to show you. Okay, absolutely.
The officers escorted the ladies and their friend to the police vehicle and proceed to show the ordinance, yet they fail to acknowledge their own stupidity. The ordinance clearly says, and I quote, "It shall be unlawful for any person to appear in the nude on any public beach, access to the public waters, or any public property in the view of the public."
I'm not
nude. So
nobody's
nude. There's nobody nude right now.
I'm not nude.
You're in a phone. Okay. The dong is not nude. All right. An anus, a vagina are nude. All right. Just an anus and a vagina are nudity. A thong is not nudity. Okay. All right. Having your
Panda took to Facebook in the following days to express how appalled she was at this. "I love dogs, and I'm of the firm belief that there are no bad dogs."
I'm going to slow this one down. That way everybody can get a good look, see, and hear it real good.
just bad owners. In the case of Jadarius Rose, a dumb canine operator released the dog on the defenseless man, even though he was ordered not to do so. Rose was a truck driver, even though he was 23 years old at the time. He looked like a kid, and in that situation, he acted like a kid. The incident started when a police officer decided to pull him over for a missing mud flap. Rose stopped at first, but then kept going, so the cop called for backup and engaged in pursuit. This is the moment he pulled over, but seeing the guns aimed at him, he continued driving. Notice the gun this officer's aiming with.
Forward. It's going to be because there's all, it's like county line. You'll see there's several units. Yeah.
Payment all broken target.
Okay, I'm coming to yourself.
Pull back out.
Okay, you push forward to Quick County or Rock County?
Moving too.
He took off again. We're heading northbound, 23. Deep in contact now. Left traffic. Northbound, right lane. He rolled the window down, looked at us, rolled back up. Northbound, 48 miles an hour, past Moore Road in Ross County.
Now, it wasn't a high-speed pursuit by any stretch of the imagination. Thing is, this kid had done nothing wrong. It's just that when he pulled over and saw all the guns pointed at him, he got scared. He then actually called his mother and asked her what to do. She told him if he'd done nothing wrong, he should stop. But then he rolled down the windows and saw the guns again and did not feel safe at all. So instead of getting out, he continued driving and called 911, hoping they could help him. In case you think that's crazy, listen to this.
A 911 call that his attorney indicated was Rose seems to confirm that he was afraid.
I parked the truck and I was about to comply with them, but they all had their guns drawn out for whatever reason. It seemed like they're trying to kill me.
You need to comply with them.
I mean, what was he expecting to hear from the operator? This just goes to show how inexperienced and really afraid he was. As the operator instructed him to obey the officers, Rose eventually did, but little did he know what was in store for him. Notice there's a bunch of law enforcement vehicles, including Ohio State Highway Patrol and the Sheriff's Office, and that's when this happened.
That's the song! Come to me!
There's a kid there. There's the dog.
Come to me, man! I ain't gonna let sleep. Do not let them, don't release the dog. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up. Do not release the dog with his hands up.
The dog, he runs. Dude, got his fucking hands.
Do not get the dog off of him.
Do not get the dog off of him. That does sound a little.
Get the dog off of him! Get the dog! Out the dog!
As you can imagine, horrific wails ensue from the young driver, pleading for the officers to get the dog off of him. However, the dog does what he was trained to do, and does not let go that easily. At this point, the dog still does not let go. The dog is finally off. The kid continues screaming, most likely out of shock more than just the pain, and all the officers seem to be taken aback by what just transpired. And this young man's ordeal isn't over yet.
I say have one of the motor units open, yes, sir, whenever.
Yeah.
Was that not loud enough? You said 3-4 multiple times.
They need to arrest that officer right there.
But then we have the one. You're talking on the 30K right lane.
County has already dispatched. Bro, don't touch my left arm, bro. You just let the dog bite me. Why would you touch my left arm? No, why you keep bending my arm?
I'm trying to get it wrapped.
We're wrapping it up.
We're not trying to hurt you.
Here. It's bad.
Don't even touch it while I got handcuffs on. Y'all just making it worse. And you still leaning on me like you pinning me down.
Nobody's on you.
Yes, you are. Look, you're grabbing my shorts.
We're trying to wrap you up.
I don't need it wrapped up right now.
The bearded man you just saw here was Ryan Speakman, the canine handler who let the dog loose. Just to make it clear, it wasn't like the dog slipped loose. The video clearly shows the young driver kneeling with his hands up when the dog runs the other way. Then his handler yells at him, frantically pointing at the unarmed suspect who seems to be surrendering. This certainly brings up some terrible images from our past, and it's not clear what Speakman was thinking at the time, as he failed to comment. He was fired from the Circleville PD because he did not meet the standards and expectations we hold for our police officers. We'll come back to this. Now let's see what Rose and his lawyer have to say after a dimwit journalist asked him if the cops firing is enough. He was screaming because he just didn't want to die. He also said that he couldn't even see what the officers were doing because he was so scared of the dog that was ripping into his arm.
You want to stand up on your feet? You want to sit on your butt?
I don't know what you're going to let me do.
I'm going to let you do it. I'm going to let you either sit or stand. As long as you ain't going to do nothing stupid.
I'm going to do something stupid.
Just have him set up, Tyler.
Let him set up. It's too late for this. You still squeezing me. I know. You still squeezing. Let it go. Don't put pressure on me. You have to have pressure. No. Let it be. Why are you still touching me? Why are you still touching me?
Because you are under arrest.
Yeah, I have handcuffs on.
I'm saying.
All right, so you can stop touching me and tell me what I need to do. But I don't need your hand on me. The dog already did it.
While throwing things out of the window.
Seattle Police Department! Open the door! We're coming in! Open the door now!
Move your warrant.
Open the door! We're kicking the door! Seattle Police! Show me your hands!
All right. Well, I reckon that's fucking enough. I appreciate y'all being here. Smash the thumb, whatever. And I'll be doing another stream on another channel here in a little bit. We got some other issues to talk about. Till then.